Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. This episode is brought to you by Goat Boy, our newest Patreon patron. I'm your co-major Sergio, joined with our major Chewy Plays Nintendo. Today we'll be discussing our favorite moments of the Animal Crossing movie that we recently watched as a group with our Discord members, talk about some rumors of 2 Nintendo Directs that could happen in November, and we will read your comments or answers in this week's Haken Villager Corner, asking, what is your favorite species of villager? That's a tough question. So, hello Chewy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, a little bit sick this weekend, so I had you take the reins of the podcast today.
Sure.
But it's exciting. I think this is a fun surprise for everybody.
Yes, definitely. Did you
Yeah,
get a
and
chance?
how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Did you get a chance to play the Splatfest that happened?
Yeah, I did. Usually when Splatfest is going on, because I guess I'm kind of a competitive player in Splatoon, so when it's just Turf War for 48 hours, I'm kind of like, I want to play Rainmaker or something.
Oh.
But I do usually play it through until I get like the queen level.
Right.
I play as a female squid, so I'm always a queen.
Nice. Yeah, we definitely had a good time. And another thing that happened this week that was definitely personally the highlight of my week, and probably many of us, at least from our Discord group for Haken, is that we watched the Animal Crossing movie together using a service called Rabbit. And I guess it's like a website where you can share content like a movie and everyone is watching it, and it's pretty much lagless. Everyone is watching the same thing at the same time, and it has a little chat room there so we can all keep in touch. And yeah, we watched the English fan dubbed version of the movie. It's in 2 parts, and oh my goodness, I had a great time. What about you, Chewy?
I had a lot of fun. Jackie had never seen the movie before, so she kind of took a break at that point from her work and then watched with me. I don't know, I had a late start, mostly because I realized I was kind of sick, so I was sleeping in a little bit longer,
Hmm.
and then just kind of moving slow in general that day. And then I was like, I'm going to make some French toast. So, like, the first little part of the movie, I was actually kind of making some French toast, and it was on really loud in my dining room. But yeah, it was so fun because I haven't seen it in years.
Yes.
The whole like ending portion, I was like, wait a second, what? I
I
don't
know.
remember this at all.
Right, exactly. I hadn't watched it
Yeah.
in 2 years, and I forgot a lot about it.
Yeah, and it's so fun to watch. I guess the version we chose to watch specifically was a dubbed version, which, for anybody who doesn't know, so the Animal Crossing movie originally only came out in Japan. I think it must have been in theaters and everything, but
Hmm.
at one point I wanted to buy it, and I was like, wait a second, this movie is like literally just in Japanese. There are no subtitles, there's nothing to help me understand what's going on,
Right.
you know? But yeah, so the dubs that do exist or the subtitle versions that do exist are all fan made,
Hmm.
which is awesome. I'm super happy that I mean, Animal Crossing is so easy to love, and everybody who loves it is just like, yeah, let's definitely do our own version of this movie.
Right.
Yeah, so it was super fun to check that out with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And I know for sure. I'm not gonna go back on my word. I know. I'm in record. I've said that the dub wasn't exactly up to par. At least I used to think so. I can definitely tell that I was very picky at that time because considering that it's fan based and what they did, it was really good actually.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. I think most of the voices, like, I was pretty okay with them. I was like,
Yeah.
this is pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah, and they definitely match the personalities of the characters that we know, and also the personalities that they added to characters that kind of didn't have personalities before. They were just a lazy villager like Alfonso. We didn't really know much about him, but yeah, definitely the dub did a great job. And of course, we did have a couple of takeaways from watching the movie. It's like we said, it's been a couple of years since each of us watched it, so we kind of had some thoughts that popped up more than others. For me personally, the biggest one was the reason why a villager might leave without saying anything at all. I mean, we had villagers leaving our towns and they tell us about it. Sometimes they even ask us and we have a choice of saying yes or no. In the older games, I know in population growing, you kind of didn't have a choice, but at least they would ask you or they would tell you about it. Sometimes what happens, and for me, I immediately remember when Alfonso left my town in New Leaf. He hadn't said anything, and I I cried when that happened because I was not expecting that, and Alfonso was my best pal by far in the game, and it just destroyed me that morning. I it was very tough for me to handle that, but watching the movie and seeing why a reason why a villager might leave, it's because they're pursuing their dreams, and not telling I, the main character of the movie, or not telling whoever the friend villager is, makes sense because like Margie said, I just couldn't tell you. If I had told you, I would be crying, and I didn't want to go to pursue my dreams with tears in my eyes. And oh, when I saw that, it made so much sense to me.
Yeah, and you know what I really like about that whole segment? I
Mhm.
mean, I think it does a really good job of just capturing that emotion you feel when that happens in game. Um, because it's like, I don't know, it's funny like how the interactions that you have with these characters, as few or as many as they are,
Mhm.
they do really connect you with their character. And I guess it's strange because like there's kind of only eight different personality types, so
Right.
more than likely you have duplicates of personalities in your town, but somehow they just like all feel different and unique, you know?
Yes.
But you build those bonds and then all of a sudden they move away, they disappear, they go and live their life, and I don't know, it just it hurts. And I think it's fun that the movie plays with that idea and lets people experience that, you know?
Yes. And like you said, they go for it and they go all the way with the. I kind of feel like it's the worst possible scenario when a character moves and they don't tell you anything. But now watching the movie and seeing this new angle about it, it just makes sense. And it also makes sense in the movie, Whitney kind of laughs at the character because she's sad, but she does it in a nice way. She tells I that if you felt that you had a connection with Margie, even though she didn't tell you anything, you definitely had that connection. There may be a reason why she couldn't tell you, and that kind of leads on to the rest of the story. But I definitely felt very affected by this again.
Yeah, and then I have a question for you too. Alfonso was your good friend in New Leaf. Had you seen the movie before having Alfonso in your town?
No, I had not. He was just my favorite because he was lazy and he loves chocolate pie, which I do too.
Yeah, because I thought, oh, that's pretty funny that, you know, just a major character here in this movie is Alfonso. I don't think I remembered that either.
Right,
Um, Seeing all the villagers in the movie again, I was like, oh, this villager is here. So
right.
it was surprising.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to see so much of Alfonso in the movie after he was my favorite in Yuli for quite a long time. So that was one of our takeaways for sure. The way a villager might live and the reason why, which makes a lot of sense. Another one that caught my attention was Tom Nook and how hardworking he is. At least in this movie, which is kind of based in Wild World, you see Tom Nook really working hard for his store and supplying the items for the characters, just going around town and also having you work for him, but it shows the hardworking side of Tom Nook, and it kind of gives me a reason why we should cut him some slack in the newer games. Maybe he doesn't work as hard now because in the past he did.
Yeah, and he's an old guy by now. He's been growing for a while, you know.
Right.
um, yeah, and so now I feel like maybe I mean even at this point, like Tom Nook has settled into just doing real estate, you know,
Right.
and then he's left the rest of the shop to his nephews
Yes.
who are you know they're doing a good job over there. So I feel like you know in the first games it's Tom Nook does real estate and he supplies every single thing that is in the store.
Yes.
And that's a lot to do for a whole town. Not only supply the homes, but you know everything that goes inside your home, all of your supplies. It's a lot to handle. So I do like, I guess, the direction that Tom Nook is going, and I don't know. Since the reveal of Animal Crossing Switch, I'm just like pro Tom Nook. I'm like,
Yes.
thank you, thanks Tom for bringing us a new game. I'm really happy about this. So yeah, you do you.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of connecting to another point that I noticed recently, by the way, Chewy's new video series is Memory Lane, where he takes a look at previous Animal Crossing games and it starts the game over and just kind of highlights different parts of the intro. And a comment that you made during the first video, which is for population growing, was the fact that Rover talks to Tom Nook kind of to tell him that there's a new person coming that doesn't have a home and if he can do anything for the new villager. And we kind of find out that Tom Nook is willing to sell the house kind of at a loss. Just pretty much it comes down to just being out of the kindness of his heart. And that really spoke to me about who Tom Nook really is, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think most of the reason we forget is like it's such a small part of the game. The letters are all faded, it's really small, and you know, you're supposed to barely be able to hear this conversation
Right.
that's going on in the background. And so you only really hear by the time Rover gets back to you, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know a guy who's gonna hook it up with a house," you know?
Right.
And so just once you get to that point, you've already forgotten that Tom Nook is like kind of struggling at this point. Like he's having trouble with this shop. He
Right.
doesn't have much of much income coming in, you know. Um, and it's not till you that all of that changes. So I'm imagining like these animals that live in your town, they bought their house from Tom Nook at some point, and maybe they just haven't paid it off yet.
That's true.
Maybe he's just waiting on tons of money to come, but he's a nice guy and he's not there to like ruin anybody's lives or anything. He's just doing what he can to make sure people have a place to live and somewhere to shop for everything they need.
Yeah, he's definitely very patient. And yeah, we see this part at the beginning of the very first game, or at least the first game for most of us, or many of us. So, like you said, we don't even know who Tom Nook really is at that point. So, this part is definitely very easy to miss. And I'm very glad that you highlighted it and just brought it to light again.
Yeah, it needs to be heard because I see too much Tom Nook hate. And I think it's undeserved
Yes.
since he's bringing us a new game single-handedly. The new when you go and listen to KK Slider play, it's gonna unfortunately it's only gonna be 5 seconds because there's only gonna be one name and it's gonna be Tom Nook in the credits.
That's true. Hey, he deserves it.
No, just kidding. They can't cut off KK's song.
True. No, but we definitely have a lot to thank for Tom Nook now. And I guess we always did, we just didn't realize it.
Yeah. And I think it's fun regardless. I think it's fun to go into debt and make a new bigger home for yourself.
Yes, definitely. Another highlight of the movie, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, is that it gives a lot of personality to characters that maybe didn't have one really. For example, Alfonso, like we said, which he was just a lazy villager, but now we can see a lot of him. Like he definitely has a personality in the movie. Not only that, but characters like Whitney, Apollo, even Rosie, and even special characters, like Mr. Rossetti and Gulliver. They do have a certain personality in the game, but there's only so much that they can do in the game setting, but in the movie we can definitely see them take a lot more freedom in these personalities, and even characters like Blathers, that we know how he is, and he just rants on about his passion with fossils. That definitely carries on in the movie as well.
And there are two things that I want to say. One, whoever did the voice for Blathers, I was truly impressed by how long they kept going, because he was just blathering on and on and on about these dinosaurs. And I was like, this guy got like a Wikipedia page open or something. Who wrote this? Because that was a lot of dialogue to go through.
Yes,
And
right.
I was impressed. I was like, this is a great fan dub. The other thing I wanted to say, Gulliver, his beak is hanging out of his like protective helmet thing,
Right.
completely defeating the purpose of having the helmet at all. So those were my two notes. I thought they were funny, but it was great. It was great.
Yeah, definitely. So we definitely got to see a lot of personality, and it adds so much liveliness to the movie. I just loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. I thought it was great just to see so much of the world come alive in such a good way.
Hmm.
Because like I said earlier, like it was great to focus in on that like genuine kind of sadness that you feel when a villager moves away.
Hmm.
But I think like a lot of the movie does a really good job of capturing just you're living a regular life in Animal Crossing. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels like you're playing an Animal Crossing game, but you're just watching a movie.
Yeah, yeah, he was so amazing, and of course, being the self-proclaimed biggest KK Slider fan, I was looking forward to his performance in the movie again. KK Bossa, he did a great performance again, but I was kind of looking beyond that, and I was noticing that, as far as I could tell, maybe you might correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the only part of the movie where he is at. So we don't see him around for the winter festivities, or when everyone is looking into the UFO activity, he's nowhere to be seen. So it kind of caught my attention, and I think it speaks to his personality and to his character growth within the series. I wouldn't go as far as say that he was an antisocial before or in Wild World, because then he wouldn't really be a performer or a singer or a musician. But maybe he just liked to keep to himself earlier on. But we definitely see that changing. In New Leaf, you run into him every now and then at the Roost. He's also at Club LOL 6 times out of the week. In Amiibo Festival, he's playing around. He's part of the board game, and you can even play with four KK sliders at the same time if you want to. And of course, in Pocket Camp, he's more than happy to just be in your campsite, just mellowing out and working on his music. So he's a lot more outgoing, and I like that the series has kind of molded him that way.
Yeah, and you mentioned that like this movie takes place in like Wild World era Animal Crossing,
Mhm.
and when we think about it, like those first three games, Population Growing, Wild World, City Folk, like Saturdays while KK had a guitar in front of him playing some music, those were the only times we ever saw KK.
Yes.
And that completely changed with New Leaf, where every night, if you wanted to, you could go to Club LOL, go to hear his DJ set. Saturdays were still an option, but even like you would build the cafe,
Hmm.
and you'd go and get some coffee, and some days KK would be there.
Yeah.
And or even like if you start working a part-time job at the cafe, KK will come in for a drink.
Yes.
So, like, I think up until New Leaf, like, he was kind of doing his own thing, a bit of a recluse, I'm sure he has to spend a lot of time in a studio somewhere writing music, recording it.
Right.
So, he's a busy guy, and he, just had to find some way to make a living, I'm guessing. So,
Right. Man, I would
so
love to see his studio. Must be awesome.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome. He's got like a photo. He's got a whole studio for like recording the music, another one for filming music videos. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Okay,
man.
I just had an idea. You're gonna love this idea. So one of my favorite things about KK Slider is that he has an album cover for every song.
Yes.
And so there's some art that goes with the song. And I think since MTV is dead, I think we should get a whole line of KK Slider music videos that play like a certain hour of the
Oh.
day. Because one of the hard things when you start out a game and it's not Saturday night to go and see KK Slider play, which it doesn't even happen like that in New Leaf. Like you have to build Club LOL before you get
Hmm.
to see KK Slider. But it would be really cool if like you got a TV in your home and then one of the hours of the day it was playing like KK Slider music.
Yes. Yes.
And they're like music videos tied to it too. I'd geek out on that.
Yes. This needs to have it. I need it.
Yeah, and I'm mostly thinking about it because I'm seeing like you've been posting photos in the gallery of all of the Animal Crossing music you've been getting, and now
Yes.
I want to get it all because it's adorable. It is so cute.
Yeah, they have a lot of art, special art that I hadn't seen before. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess which albums do you have? How many are there? What are you looking for?
So far, let's see. There's five different ones. Two of them are the first game, Population Growing, broken up into two parts. The other one is the soundtrack for Wild World, and another one, it's I think it's exclusive to Europe. That was the hardest one to get, and I think it's just a compilation of music from the games up to City Folk and a lot of KK songs. And the last one, which is probably my favorite because I didn't even know it existed until I got it, is the soundtrack for the movie. All the songs in the movie in one
Oh
CD.
wow.
Yeah.
Um, is that one all in Japanese? I'm assuming because we saw a dubbed version and there were like lyrics written for KK Basa, you know?
Yes.
So uh, I guess have you listened to that one at all? And did the Japanese version have lyrics that accompanied it too?
It only has lyrics for the song that plays in the credits, which is it's actually a song. But for KK Bossa, no, it's just KK singing with his regular voice.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Um, yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm super excited for you getting all of those. Last question. So the first one, you said it's for population growing.
Yes,
How many discs is that?
that one is two, and I think each one is has about 20 songs or so.
Wow. Okay. I was wondering if it was like, because I listen to the population growing soundtrack
Hmm.
on YouTube sometimes, and that's like an 7 hour and a half playlist.
Yes,
Because it includes all of the KK songs.
yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I was wondering because I was like, that's got to be like a 30 disc set or something.
Right. No, I think these are like the best selection, but the one for the movie has everything, and it's awesome.
That's cool. So I guess I had my takeaways from the movie. I had a few, just some short ones. The first one, towns should be as big as the town in the movie.
Oh, yes.
Because that was a huge town. It was really
Yeah.
impressive. Um, Another, actually, I'm making it four because I remembered one. You should be able to choose which trees you want to decorate with like lights and
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
Because that's something that kind of plays a role at the end of the movie. I won't spoil it for anybody. Go out and watch
Oh.
it. But yeah, being able to choose what trees you get to light up, I think is important to me. Also, I guess if you haven't noticed, all of my takeaways are how they could be implemented into the new game.
Right.
The next one, festivals. We've said this before, but festivals should include all of the shop owners. I want to see them set up their own booths during the holiday. And I just want to see them, like, provide special things that they only sell at this festival during this day,
Yes.
Because I think it makes it more exciting. I always like the work that Isabel puts into like putting a display stand out there, having gifts for everybody to enjoy the day. But I want to see it get bigger. You know, I want more people to get in that Isabel mood and want to celebrate.
Yes.
And then the last thing I had, their cave adventure. So they go into a cave that's like got a river and all of these different things, but they find a fossil in there. And I kind of want that type of exploration in the next Animal Crossing. Like maybe it's once a week or something, but you get to go to this special area where you can find fossils, ores. What was the other thing I had? Gyroids.
Ooh.
Yeah, just things that you can dig up, but like in larger quantities. And so I would think it would have to be like a special event. I still want these things to show up around the town
Yes.
like
Right.
normal, but I just want it to be like one a special thing where you go out and explore a place and you come out with like all of these treasures, you know?
Yes, that would be amazing. And maybe depending on the three or so type of villagers that you take with you, you might get more of a certain item or a special rare one.
Yeah, and I guess yeah, it'd be nice to see all these rare special things in there. But also I feel like I want to see what Nintendo's take would be on this type of gameplay because, you know, I played a lot of Stardew Valley and there's a mine that's kind of a dungeon crawler where you go deeper and deeper. It's kind of randomly generated every time.
Hmm.
Um, but you get like further and further, and every 5 floors you get a checkpoint so you can start out further. But it'd be interesting to see like how Animal Crossing would interpret that type of gameplay, you know?
Yes.
Because it's not really an action game. I don't know if I see that fitting so much, but I think exploration on its own would be pretty great in Animal Crossing.
Yes, and I'm honestly a little bit surprised that we haven't seen anything like it considering that it was in the movie and it's a pretty big portion of the movie. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be like really heavy action in the game and maybe even like you said once a week that's enough. It's a little nice little extra thing for us to do every week and when you think about it, Animal Crossing, that's all it is in a way. There's so many little things that they kind of all mix together, but the more we have, the better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a game that's like built to last for so long, and just the more kind of things that we have to do can only really help the game, I think.
Yes, definitely. So those were our takeaways on the movie, and again, thank you all that joined. We had an amazing time, and we'll definitely keep this service in mind for future events. Another thing that happened this week is there were some rumors of not one but two Nintendo Directs that could happen next month in November. So we are hearing that one is going to be more of a traditional Nintendo Direct with a lot of game announcements, basically not focused on a single game. But the second Direct would be focused and it would be for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is coming out in early December. So I think the Smash one makes a lot of sense considering how soon the game is to release and the fact that there's a lot of things that they haven't told us about fully just yet. There was a portion of the main menu of the game, we saw a screen of it and it was blurred. So there's still one, at least one more mode that they could talk about and they purposely hid it before, so they still need to give us that information. And I think one last direct for Smash would be the best way to announce. I'm thinking at least one more brand new character and one more Echo Fighter. So, Chewy, what do you think about this potential Smash Direct?
At first I want to say like I feel like most of us were expecting something in November for Smash.
Hmm.
It's definitely like Nintendo's big game for the holiday that's not Pokemon.
Yes.
And both of these are going to be huge for Nintendo, but you know, Pokemon I feel always does its own thing. They're kind of they're a huge company on their own, you know.
Yes.
So they do their own thing, but I feel like for Smash, I guess I've expected it's coming. I think we're gonna need to know, I guess, or at least get teased at what this last mode is going to be. I guess technically we've already gotten teased, so I think it could be time to reveal it, but I'm really hoping for something more Subspace Emissary from
Yes.
Smash Brawl. Overall, I didn't really care for Smash Brawl just because I don't know, the game punishes you for moving, like it trips you up.
Oh, that's true.
That's not right. That's another discussion. But regardless, I think it'd be just so fun to have just like a huge, crazy story mode that combines all of these characters in some way. Because that's what's fun about it. Like, you see all these characters in
Yes.
one world, and Subspace Emissary gave us a place to really play with that, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and then I think brand new characters. I guess for me, I always kind of consider Echo Fighters as new characters, even if they're very much alike to another character.
Hmm.
So I don't know. To me, it feels like I'm excited to see whatever characters are coming.
Ah, I see. I see.
But I think by, I guess, Smash's standards, I don't know. I know Sakurai kind of warned everybody that we shouldn't expect too many new character announcements.
Yes.
And I do think, like, they're just saving them all for this direct. And when I say all, I think there will be more than one for each of them.
Mm.
I'm guessing, I'd say like 2 to 4
Nice.
new
That sounds right.
new characters. Maybe 2 to 6, depending on like how they mix them with Echo Fighters and like brand new characters that we've never seen. You know.
True. Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know. I'm already very happy that I can beat everybody up as Isabel. So
Yes.
I'm stoked about that. I'm stoked about being able to play as Inkling. They've got like all my favorite characters in there. So yeah.
Yeah.
I guess here's a question for you. Is there any one character, either like Nintendo or third party, that you would like to see in the game?
So I do. There is one, and it's very, very unlikely to happen because he's already been shown as an assist trophy. I really want to see Waluigi. I think it's time. He's been waiting so long. I think even in his fans too, even us. So I think it's time, and it would be really trolly, but also really cool of Sakurai to say, yes, we showed him as an assist trophy, but here he is. He's a full character. Never mind on the assist trophy. That was a joke.
Yeah, and then is- so I guess I've been wanting to kind of rewatch that clip about to see Waluigi as an assist trophy.
Hmm.
Just to like make sure that it's an assist trophy, because for some reason I have it in my head that he's just tricking us and he's gonna show Waluigi as a playable character.
Yes.
Um, but I don't know. For me, my answer now is Tom Nook. I want to see Tom Nook as a new fighter. Because by the time it got to the end, I was like, "Oh, is Tom Nook gonna be in Smash Bros. Too?" And now that that idea is in my head, I'm like, "Put him in the game. Come on."
That'd be
Um,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, and it's funny because like I was listening to another discussion. I think it was Game Informer, and the people talking about it, they weren't, they didn't play Animal Crossing too much, but their exposure to the game, they were initially confused by Isabel, and they're like, "Well, when I think Animal Crossing, I thought it was like Tom Nook and KK Slider. Like those were the characters they brought
Wow.
up.
Hmm.
Maybe Rossetti."
Right.
So I think for like older generation, not so much in the know of Animal Crossing, like they probably connect more with those like characters that were in the franchise from the beginning, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Um, but of course, Isabel's wildly popular. Everybody who plays it is just like, Isabel's the best. She's the Leslie Knope of characters. um, yeah, so I don't know. I now I'm pretty into the idea of Tom Nook being in it.
Man, that'd be awesome. Yeah, you're right. From the old games, I would say, I mean, I wish it was KK Slider, but I definitely agree that Tom Nook is sort of like the most known of the characters.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you said that you are happy with the way Smash Brothers already is. So I agree with you. Whatever else we get, that's kind of additional, just more flavor to this awesome game that they're cooking up. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And you also mentioned that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they were doing their own thing, and there's so many trailers for that game. I watch a couple of them. I don't want to watch too many because I want to see some surprises too. But they are doing a lot of promotion for that game. It wouldn't surprise me to see a demo, but there is potential for another more traditional Nintendo Direct in November with a lot of different games. Maybe it wouldn't have so much Pokemon because they're doing their own thing, but maybe Nintendo wants to promote other games for the holidays. I'm also thinking, what if they're planning some additional DLC for games like Mario Tennis Open or even Super Mario Party? Because we don't even know if that game is getting any DLC. So if they are working on something like that, a direct would be a nice way to announce it, and they can go ahead and promote whatever games they want to for the holidays, even some of the recent 3DS games like Luigi's Mansion. So there is also rumor of a more traditional Nintendo Direct, and we could get a couple of surprises. Some games that we know are coming for next year, like the remake of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and also Yoshi's Crafting World. But there's always the possibility, if we do get a more mainstream, broader direct, that we could hear about Animal Crossing, and that just gets us excited.
Yeah, and while you were saying this, I totally remembered the Nintendo Power podcast is the official like podcast from Nintendo themselves. So it kind of gives you the insider look, but their last episode was definitely a fall catalog type of thing
Hmm.
where they just talked about the games that were coming out between then and the end of fall or something. Um, and so, November, like, it's still a fall month. It's not winter until December. And so, in some
Yes.
way, they've kind of covered what is happening for this year. I think, I guess initially I was thinking if I were Nintendo, my focus would probably be, Pokemon, Smash Bros, and every single other game that we have right now that's already available on the Switch because, that's their number one goal right now.
Yes.
Sell 20 million Switch units. And this, I guess, holiday season is going to make it or break it for them,
Yes, definitely.
We're going to see at that next fiscal report where they are. I don't know when they hold that. I think it's next month. I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe it's early December, but things are going to be very different if they don't reach that 20 million goal. I guess not, I don't know in what way, but regardless, what I'm interested to see is how they would handle the next like general direct if it falls before Smash Bros.
Hmm.
Because right now you mentioned new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. That's such a long title. I say it
Yes.
every time I have to say it. Especially now because I'm kind of sick and I'm sick of saying it. But anyways, so we do know that is slated for July. But we don't know what's going to happen February, March,
Hmm.
and pretty much that like early 3 months of the year. I'm wondering what they could say about that. I don't know how much they would say about that or if they just kind of focus on this year's games because that's a kind of how it felt in two well, maybe that was E3 2017,
Hmm.
where they were like, we're going to focus on games coming out in 2017. And then they literally just focused on games coming out in 2000. No, maybe it was the 2018 one, because they dropped a lot of surprises in
Yes.
2017.
Yes. Hmm.
Um, yeah, so 2018 was pretty focused on just 2018. And I don't know, maybe I'm just going roundabout, but essentially all I want to see is a trailer for Animal Crossing. That's what I'm hoping we'll see. But I don't know if it's gonna fall in those first 3 months of the year. I don't see it being out that early.
Hmm.
Um, I know I wouldn't mind,
No,
but
right?
yeah, I guess I don't know. It feels like a game you want to hold for a point in time where parents are going to be more likely to buy their kids games. So,
Yes.
June is a good time just because, so many kids get out of school at that point. They need a game. Maybe they just graduated or something from
Ah,
junior
true.
high, and their parents are like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you this game for a present." Or the holiday seasons make sense. I think just the main thing is that Animal Crossing is a huge seller for Nintendo, and I would think to put it in a place that helps boost its sales is stronger for it.
Yes.
So it kind of doesn't make sense to me to put it in the first 3 months of the year, right after it could have been a holiday title.
Yes, definitely.
Um, so I don't know. It's hard to know, but again, I would not mind if it were out. It'd be really fun.
Right. No, well, I do agree with you. I think I would be really surprised if we even saw the game, like a trailer or even just a couple of seconds of gameplay. It would be very surprising. But something that I can kind of see and I would love to see would be the official name or the subtitle of the game, if any.
Oh yeah, you're right. Animal Crossing coming home. Um, no, I don't know if that will be the name. I think it's a nice name that my
Yeah.
friend came up with. I made a video about that. But yeah, I would like to see a name. You said like just a couple seconds of gameplay. I would not mind, I guess, if it were in some sort of sizzle reel,
Hmm.
or if they just like announce that they're gonna do an Animal Crossing direct in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because that would be fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I have to look into this because I want to know kind of how they handled Animal Crossing New
Ooh.
Leaf when they were announcing it. Um,
Yes.
because my memory at this point is like, I just remember it being terrible. The wait between everything. It skipped an entire E3 at some point, and that was disappointing.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it's close enough, they'll tell us that there's an Animal Crossing Direct, because that's a game where they like to focus on it and give it its own time spot.
Yes, definitely because it's so unique and very different from what Nintendo does. Ah, it would be awesome to get the subtitle and to say, or for them to say, you're getting a full direct maybe in March of next year. Look forward to that. And oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, it'd be really great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So let's keep our eyes on that. Potentially two Nintendo Directs in November. If there's anything Animal Crossing related out of those, we will definitely let you guys know for sure. Our last part of this week's podcast is Haken's Villager Corner. Just to recap, this is an option to our patrons. We ask a special question. You would answer on Patreon, and we're going to read your answers here on the show. And this week's question, I think, is the toughest question so far. What is your favorite species of villager? And Chewy, what is your answer, first of all?
Oh, you're right about this being tough, because I feel like I'm still kind of debating it in my head right now.
Hmm.
Um, I guess. Oh man, and then there's another one I can throw into the mix that makes it even harder, because my tastes have changed. I'd say if you asked me this question during pretty much like population growing through city folk, I would have told you cats right away.
Ooh,
Um, Mostly because a lot of my favorite villagers or my best friends were cats. Though, I don't know. My first best friend was a bear cub, Poncho,
nice.
and but also Mitzi was a good friend of mine.
Hmm.
And she was a cat, and I had her in every town. I literally always had Mitzi, and so I don't know. I just always felt like there was a cat in my life that was a good friend to me. But now I guess I'm torn because I do really like the deer villagers that they
Yes,
added.
nice.
And I'm also kind of getting really into more of the exotic animals like the rhinos and the gorillas.
Ooh.
A while ago, I really didn't like the gorillas, but now I'm just like, the gorillas are cool. I like their look a lot, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people still don't, but just like at this point, I don't know. I think the gorillas are pretty awesome now. And yeah, the rhinos are really cool. So I don't know. It's a tough call for me.
Yes.
And then even, I don't know, the alligators are awesome. And the I like some of the chickens and the tigers and
Oh, yes.
lions. It's the hardest question I've ever asked.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's read some, and maybe I'll have an answer by the end. Or what about you? What's your
I
favorite?
am on the same boat. It's very, very tough, and it's tough alone narrowing it down to two, but that's the best I can do. I cannot pick a top favorite out of these two, but my top two are gonna be squirrels and cubs.
Those
There's
are
a
good
lot of
picks.
Yeah, there's a lot of others that are very close, like deer and rabbits, but yeah, I'm gonna go with those two at the top.
And now that you're saying squirrels, those were definitely my favorite in Wild World.
Ooh,
I had
nice.
like just at some point there were like six squirrels in my town. And I don't know when that happened. I was just like, I have a lot of squirrels. I like them. They're my best friends.
You know what
So
I want to see, and I think I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna share it on our Discord. I want to see the percentage of how many villagers are of each species. I want to see which one has the most and which ones has the least.
yeah, I think that'd be good to know.
So yeah, definitely, our patrons gave us answers, and do we want to go one on one on these ones?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. Then let me begin with second. Again, awesome name. And his answer is for me, I'll probably say wolf. Oh man, wolf. That's a good one. And he says mainly because a lot of them are cranky, my favorite personality type. Lobo is one of my favorites, and they all have pretty solid designs. Minus one. Sorry, Sky. But other than that, I really love the two museum owls. Hopefully, they get a bit more personality back in Animal Crossing Switch, though. I was a fan of Blathers and Celeste, talking my ear off about almost everything.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, they did a good job on the dub for that.
Yes.
They really filled in that Blathers dialogue.
Yeah, it was awesome. And second, you're right. I forgot about wolves. I want to put him there too, but there's so many.
Yeah. I guess I never connected too much with the wolves, mostly because they don't want to live in my town.
Ooh.
And I'm like, come on. I don't know. I can't think of a single time a wolf lived in my town
Ooh.
in like any of the games.
Yeah.
And now I'm sad about that. I want them to move in.
Maybe that's how you'll get in Switch.
Hopefully. I cuz
That'll be
I'm
a
at the point
nice.
yeah, I'm at the point where I want to see all the different villagers and I'm not really going for my favorites anymore. I just want to,
Yes.
build bonds with whoever moves in.
Exactly. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so I'll go next. Infinite Mallet responded, "My favorite is Octopus, followed by Wolf." Oh, another Wolf
Ooh.
fan. Um, I think I just like how strange it is seeing an octopus walking around on land. That's totally right.
Yes.
And since there's so few of them, it always felt a little special to get one in my town. And I think there are three octopi that you
Yes.
can pick. Well, you can't pick them. They'll live there or they won't. It's up to them. Um, but there is the original Octavian, who
Yes.
I had Octavian in my town in GameCube.
Ooh, nice.
Um, and it's funny because that's the only. I don't know if there are more octopi in, I guess, the earlier
Hmm.
games. Oh, and I'm totally wrong. There is one more octopus. Yeah, octopus that they added, and that is, I think, Inkwell. Is that what they call the amiibo character?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you scan in the squid amiibo or
Oh,
the
that's right.
kraken amiibo from Splatoon or Splatoon 2, actually, I don't know if the Splatoon 2 one works, but the
Mm,
Splatoon one works for sure. Um, but if you scan that in, there's another octopus that can move in your town, and they're orange and they're nice. um, but yeah, other than that, like there are really not that many of them, and I think they're fun. They're a fun design and everything.
right.
Um,
This
eh,
is one that I want to see the percentage for, and more importantly, I want to see a lot more of them in future games.
yeah, definitely. There's so many animals that they can add.
Yeah,
um,
yes.
but yeah, Octavian I had, and then the other two were Zucker and Marina,
Ooh,
and the all of I think those two might have just been added in New Leaf, and they're both wildly popular. I can't tell you how many people I found on the like villager trade or adoption things that were
right.
looking for those two villagers. Um, so they're really popular.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Next, we have answer by Dragonflame323, and he says, I like cats and wolves. Another wolf. He says, dogs would be up there too, but I don't think I've ever had any. However, I do know how amazing Goldie is, thanks to a friend who had her as a starting villager in New Leaf. So I thought it was awesome that she was the one you start with in Pocket Camp.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And I do know Dragon Flame, the only Animal Crossing they've ever played is New Leaf.
Yes.
So it makes sense that they've never seen some of the other villagers. I like dogs in the first one a lot. Mostly
Hmm.
Biscuit. I had Biscuit in my
Oh,
town,
nice.
and he was one of my good friends. He moved away though. I was sad about that.
Oh.
But yeah, so far 3 for 3 on Wolf
Yeah.
fans, and yeah, cats are great. I'm always a big fan of the cat characters.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's my turn. All right, Joe or Cyborg Jiro said I would have to go with cats just because they have
Mm.
so many really good characters. Mitzi, Stinky, Anka, Felicity, and don't forget Rover. The list goes
Yes.
on. Yeah, and Rover, that's one of the first characters we ever meet. So
Yes.
I am super happy about that.
Oh, hey, interesting. We meet a dog and a cat. Those are the first two characters we meet.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. They're like the most,
The most basic or
yeah,
recognizable.
yeah, they're recognizable animals for the kiddos. But yeah, Mitzi, like I said, pretty much always have had Mitzi in my town, no matter what town I make. Um,
Cool.
so in New Leaf, I finally let her move away, but I'm sure she'll find her way into my town in the next game. And Felicity, she's in, I think, two of my towns right now, my City Folk
Ooh.
town and my New Leaf town, both of my New Leaf towns, actually. Um,
Oh, nice.
and I'm not sure if she was in the game before City Folk.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'd have to double check that.
Nice. Yeah, but you know what? I like cats a lot better in the game than in real life. I'm sorry, I'm just not I'm just not the biggest cat person. I prefer dogs, but oh, in the game, definitely. Give me cats.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to dislike any animal in Animal Crossing. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, they're all pretty awesome.
Yep. And our last answer for this question is by Samshine, and he says, cats. As soon as I had enough Cat Villager amiibo, I was able to check off my bucket list item of making an all cat town in New Leaf. I also like the koalas because at first I had no idea what species they were.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the koalas too.
Yes, yes, me too.
I've got to say, I add them to my list of villagers that I like. I remember Wild World. Maybe it was City Folk. Alice lived in my town. She's a great koala. And then New Leaf, I had Lyman, who was like this little green
Ooh,
koala, and I loved that guy. He was so great. um, Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great choices. Everybody had some cool ones, and it's hard to not go classic cats or dogs, because I feel like they get a lot of love in the game. They get a lot of really good designs for those.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of cats and a lot of wolves. That's cool.
Yeah, I so now that we're back to me, I think I don't know. I still don't know. My heart wants to say rhinos, but maybe it's koalas now. Since hearing that, I'm pretty into.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I'm really liking the exotic animals in the game now.
Oh yeah, I mean they definitely are for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not from like Australia or anything, so I've never been near a koala.
Nice.
Yeah, so I guess we haven't figured this part out. Did you want to do the little outro portion for everybody, or should I?
No, definitely.
All
I can
right.
do it. So, thank you so much for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation on all things Animal Crossing, join our Discord. We have a link in the description of this podcast, and it's totally free to join. You don't have to be a Patreon. And if you do join, you get to keep up on everything the Animal Crossing and all of our discussions, and you get our friend codes too, so we can all play our games together. Now, that being said, if you do want to be a patron, visit patreon.com/. Chewy Plays Nintendo. For just $1, you can support the show and you get a lot of cool different things. We can give you digital art, or you can eventually get our friend codes for Animal Crossing Switch, and we can all play together. And I'm sure we're definitely going to be having a lot of special content once the game is out. So definitely check out Patreon. We just updated our goal, so there's more interesting things to look forward to. And we try to really make it worth it for our patrons because we really appreciate the support. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, definitely please leave us a comment on your favorite moments of the Animal Crossing movie or your thoughts on the potential rumors of 2 Nintendo Directs for November. Definitely please leave us a review on the show wherever you're listening, whatever application you use. It helps the show gain some visibility and allows our community to grow. And once again, thank you so much for listening, and we hope you have a great week. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.